We have done videos and documents about that. But you see, what Deuteronomy 28 is telling us, and it applies to every human being. If thou shalt diligently hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. And then it goes on to list blessing after blessing after blessing. I won't read them all. You can read them. Deuteronomy 28. Then Deuteronomy 28, that's up to about verse 12, verse 13. But when you reach down to verse 16, it says, but if you do not listen and obey, and I'm telling everyone now, those near to me, those far away from me, it's one thing to hear from God, it's another thing to obey. Our biggest problem is we refuse bluntly to obey. We make every kind of excuse in order not to obey. The result is we suffer, those around us suffer, and the world suffers at large, and Christ cannot come back, as I keep saying, for a wife or a bride who is still in the bathroom trying to clean herself up. It just will not happen. It's a verse from verse 16. It tells us there, if you don't obey, and then it lists curse after curse after curse. And the Lord shall, I'm just picking out bits here, and the Lord shall send thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke in all that thou settest thine hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed. That is the goal. And until thou perish quickly because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me. Verse 21, Deuteronomy 28. The Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee, until he have consumed thee from off the land whither thou goest to possess it. Not finished. Verse 22. The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption, and with a fever, and with inflammation, and with extreme burning, and with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. Sickness not finished yet. Verse 27. The Lord will smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with the emerods, and with the scab, and with the itch, whereof thou canst not be healed. There are a set of diseases amongst us right now. You could do all the stem cell research you like. It says, whereof thou canst not be healed. Finished? No. Verse 28. The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. Then it goes on, list some more. Verse 35, 35, we're back to sickness. The Lord shall smite thee in the knees and in the legs with a sore botch that cannot be healed, from the sole of thy foot unto the top of thy head. Just looking to see if I see anything else to do with sickness. Lots of stuff. But all those were to do with sickness. But in verse 60, it climaxes. Well, let's look at verse 59, Deuteronomy 28. Then the Lord will make thy plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed, even great plagues, and of long continuance, and sore sicknesses, and of long continuance. You know how many diseases just eat us away while we are alive? And it goes on week after week after week. Then, just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, moreover, verse 60, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt, which thou wast afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. Also every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book of the law, of this law, them will the Lord bring upon thee until thou be destroyed, and you shall be left few in number, whereas you were as the stars of heaven for multitude, because thou wouldst not obey the voice of the Lord thy God. Isn't that amazing? In the blessings, just God said, I'm going to bless you. Very short. The blessings listed are short but comprehensive. But the curses, very detailed. Look at how many things I hit upon there. And you know, so what does that mean to you? What does it mean to me? Well, it means this, that science cannot repeat, cannot counteract the penalty for sin that we get because of our rebellion. We have messed up the atmosphere. We have destroyed the earth. We now talk about global warming. Well, it's not true. We have messed up everything. That is true. But to tell people that if you stop using electricity, you stop doing this, you stop doing that, stop using your cars, walk everywhere, bathe once a week, and whatever else, there'll be no more global warming. Well, it's not true. It's not a blessing. What's happening to us with the weather is not a blessing. What's happening to us with our health is not a blessing. The violence that's surrounding everywhere is not a blessing. In Genesis 6, where we talked about the days of Noah, God said violence, the violence was everywhere. And today it's the same. Violence everywhere. Recently just stabbings and stabbings and stabbings and more stabbings. That's not normal. That's not what God planned. But you see, after we finish Deuteronomy 28, it says, I call, this is Deuteronomy 30, I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessings and cursings. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live. Verse 20, that thou mayest love the Lord thy God, and that thou mayest obey his voice, and that thou mayest cleave unto him, for he is thy life and the length of thy days. How do you live long? Is it vitamins and minerals? They're good and they're useful. But it says here, thou mayest cleave unto him, for he is thy life and the length of thy days.